are back with the MVP show, guys. Thank you so much. We had a little bit of a break, but you know what? It happened really quick, and now we are finally back. So happy to finally recap. There's been so many things that have happened in sports and a lot of good things that are also going to be happening later on, and we also have a lot of special guests for future shows as well as one today. And then we're going to dive right into it really quick. So let's introduce our co-host. Next to me, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Swice.
March,
let's give it
baby.
up for Swice.
March.
Make hijinks great again. I agree. So that needs to be switched. Sitting next to him, we have Mons.
Yep.
How we doing, bro?
March. We're good. We're good.
Mons is March. Mons is March.
Mons is March. We have to get after it, guys.
He gets after it in March. Birthday month, March Madness.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We'll get more into March Madness.
Financially, it could either be a really good or a bad month. We'll depend how that goes. So, and today we have a special guest joining us today. Let's dive in and get him on right now. He is the owner and founder of BetOpenly, Gino.
There we go, Gino. Good to see you, brother.
What's going on, brother?
Hi, dude. It's good to be back. It's been a minute.
I know. 2 years ago was we had Gino on. Before we had a whole setup. Matt and I were on it. Ray's new to the
I'm new
to the squad, but he's hosted here. So yeah, excited to have you on and dive into things.
You guys look all professional now. I'm a little intimidated.
Just went from last time you saw me, I was in my basement on like a $20 Amazon mic, and here we are.
Here we are. Big studio, big
Gee,
things.
You guys all improved, and I'm still in the same fucking house.
Honestly, it looks pretty comfortable. You are wearing a tank top in there, so it looks good.
Yeah.
Are you in Florida?
South Florida, baby, Palm Beach.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
There we go.
You had your second child recently, or
Yeah,
no?
I got a 2-month-old, dude. I'm not going too far from the house.
Yeah, you're a dad now, something that we are not. So,
We're holding off on that as long as possible, for me at least.
As you should.
As-
I'm 40 though, so you'll catch up. You got time.
it doesn't seem like it, but has being a dad and a father now has, you dialed back on the degeneracy, or are you're still going full degen over there?
Dude, so I had a great year gambling last year. Since my second daughter was born, I'm on a slump, and I'm kind of blaming. Like the time of two is, I'll just say this. I don't want to misspeak too badly.
Yeah.
Assuming you have your children and you're married and you live together kind of shit. The first child, the wife does everything.
Yep.
Pretty much 90%. My first daughter, Sienna, I'd feed Sienna once or twice a day, maybe a diaper. Wife's doing 90%. The second child, man, the wife needs way more help.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought 2 kids is more work?
Different ball game. 10x the work for the dad.
Yeah. So let's put it out there. If you have 2 children and you're a gambler, maybe dial back a little bit. I don't know.
Reel it back.
Reel it back a little bit. But no, we're happy to have you. I know you've talked to these guys already previously. You guys have a relationship. I'm happy to finally connect with you. But yeah, no, let's dive into it, man. I know you have a lot of good things that are happening. You've been involved in the space a little bit. So what we would like to know is, tell us a little bit more about you when you started gambling, or, what made you, transition into the field of betting. Give us a little bit of an update of, how you got everything going.
Absolutely. I want to start too by throwing a little shade and maybe starting some online drama, but in the nicest way.
Let's go.
Dude, I won't say the name because that's really starting fights, but some dude posted yesterday that no one that sells picks is a winning bettor. And the reason I want to tell you that, and this will get to my story.
Yep.
I started gambling at age 15.
Jeez.
Really young.
Talk about legal.
Yeah, sick shit. And then at 18, I was running numbers with the Chicago syndicate up and down California. These dudes won. All they did was win. And they sold their plays. So although I agree with the sentiment that this space has a bunch of slime bags and 9 out of 10 people are pieces of shit, you can't say stuff like that. It's just inaccurate. So back to my story, I just wanted to make it relevant and timely. Yeah, I got into gambling age 15, thought I could pick winners because I probably won a couple games in a row, and then probably went on a massive losing streak after that, and then started looking for ways to win. Became a bookie in high school. So that was before running with the syndicate of Chicago. So became a bookie, was like, oh damn, a lot of people lose more than they win. And that's when I kind of started, even though I was young and immature and a lot of the things I assumed were incorrect, I started looking at the business of it. Like, do people just lose more than they win? Is it just the 10% that like makes the books money? Is it parlays, etc.? So I just started thinking about the ins and outs. And although I made a bunch of incorrect assumptions back then, I started thinking about the business. And then flash forward, I went down to San Diego State, was like the bookie in our frat. Then graduated, came back to San Francisco, which was having a tech boom. So a lot of my homies like me got into sales. We thought we were rich making, sales money, but this is a long time ago, making, 60 to 80 to 120K in your low 20s back then, where everything cost like a third.
Especially in California. Yeah.
In California. It was San Francisco, but it was before it got crazy expensive. It was like, I'll give you context. I had a nice apartment in Nob Hill, and I had a roommate, but my portion of the rent was $600.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're paying $600 rent, but you're making, 10,000 a month. You're doing fine.
Yeah. Yep.
So what does that mean? Back to liquidity fluid. I start betting like a fucking sicko.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, you got money to spend.
Yeah, so that's like, I was a bookie. Then I ran it with the syndicate. And I was a bookie just for friends and family, like coworkers. Never like the go after your kneecap kind of guy. Always knew someone. Always personally referred. Then I got moved to New York for work and grew it to there. And then this is where I just flashed through 10 years in like 10 seconds. But I actually got moved down to Argentina for a project with Sequoia Capital. And that's when I started building BetOpenly. I was flying in between Argentina and Panama, establishing an offshore. I was going to build an offshore illegal peer-to-peer, like the paper head kind of like I don't even know what the names are anymore. Bet Capri's, the Every Game 24/7s, those skins. I was going to build a Costa Rican skin or a Anguilla skin, but for peer-to-peer. And so I was down in Argentina building it, and then out of nowhere, like didn't pay attention to politics or legal back then. It was 2018, maybe 17, they started talking about it, and PASPA was overturned. And for those of you not familiar, or you too young, PASPA being overturned by the Supreme Court in 2018 is really what started like everything, like FanDuel, DraftKings, all this stuff. FanDuel and DraftKings back then, believe it or not, guys, were not a sports book. They were just fantasy sports, peer-to-peer pools. So they actually paved the way for us to exist. They've now morphed so far past that most young kids don't even realize that they were peer-to-peer and pools only, because they won a really substantial case as a game of skill. And that's what we run. That's what we live under, game of skill.
Wow. Now, are you guys familiar with that as well?
Yeah.
Or is this new?
I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was new for me, Gino. So you inside?
Okay, cool.
Yeah. No, that was really cool to hear, actually. So if anything, let's clip that.
we gotta definitely clip that.
Yeah, we gotta dish that out.
A lot of people think FanDuel and DraftKings are like MGM or the books. No, dude, they were pools, 10 guys drafting teams. They didn't even do daily fantasy in the beginning. Then they grew to that.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I do remember that. That was crazy that that happened back in the day and everything. So
Yeah.
and then they just exploded.
Yeah, their original product was like the equivalent of Yahoo Fantasy, but you could bet on the season.
Yeah.
And it obviously changed drastically to what we are today.
Wow. And how many years ago was that for you? What was that at around, what was that, a little 10 years ago about?
No, it's 2018 is when it really
Started.
So 7 years ago, I immediately called some friends that were coders and said, hey, could you get me a roadmap? How much could we build? What would it cost? But BetOpenly didn't have a live product till 2020. And then imagine going live, getting a bunch of signups, getting your first deposits, and then sports get canceled.
Oh my
And
God.
everyone leaves. I was like, this is not real. Like I've been dreaming of this for 20 years, maybe since 20 years since I was a teenager. We go live and fucking COVID. I've never had sports canceled my entire life.
COVID said not today.
No, I was like, all the fucking sins I did my whole life are fucking coming back to bite me in the ass.
Jesus Christ. I remember that too. Everything got shut down. The only
Except
thing
UFC, your favorite.
except for combat
He
sports.
came back 2 months. Dude, Dana White's Fight Island, that guy's a legend.
Legend. He kept it alive. I mean, I feel like, at least I'm big in the combat sports world. That's what helped at least excel the sport, after McGregor. McGregor helped on a great marketing standpoint in like 2014, 2015, excelled. And then we had COVID hit. And then finally, there was no eyes on any other sport besides UFC when Dana White decided to fly
Bored
out.
as hell. I wanted to bet. I was like,
and all these people are like,
fighting. This is awesome. I never really watched.
Let's
before.
watch fucking two guys just fist fight in a cage, and it blew up. It scaled to another level because Dana White did not give a fuck. So it was nice to finally see at least a sport, and also it helped in the world of sports betting as well. Continue that and transcend not just the sport but also sports betting and get more eyes on it. So if anything, it's helped combat sports. But one thing it's pissed me off about with at least combat sports is the people and the odds makers have now dialed in a little bit more since COVID and have now their odds are a little bit better. But before 2020, oh my God, the odds were all over the place. You could get a dog for plus 200 and wouldn't even bat an eye that they would probably win. But now the odds are a little bit closer. So at least on the combat sports side.
Dude, I'll just say this: every better got sharper. It used to be. I'm aging myself, but this is the truth. When I was 16, I worked at Starbucks. I would literally get there, take the free newspaper, and go to the sports page to get my lines and odds.
That's
I'm
awesome.
not
That's a
fucking
true
with you guys.
D-gen right there. That's a true D-gen.
I had a blue pen and a red pen, and I would circle what I liked, X what I hated,
Love
and
it.
you would chew on it for fucking days.
That's awesome.
And then call it in. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I mean this shit. Y'all won't believe how much changed in the last 20 years in this world.
Yeah. No, I mean, we see it.
For 50 years.
Yeah, no, we see it. I mean, even talking to, other fellow, cappers, a lot of them are bullshitters per se. I feel like you could kind of really understand a person when you talk to them for the first 10 minutes, or first couple minutes, realistically, in terms of their knowledge, how long they've been involved in the sport, or not just sport, in the game, and then in what sports they also, cap per se. And a lot of it is just doing your research and due diligence in terms of making sure it's not just, because I like this guy or a personal relationship. It's because you did your research. And not a lot of these guys are doing their research and just going off of bullshit and other people. So, I mean, it's good to hear that you are an original OG in this space that actually took their time to understand not just the games that you were, betting on or the games or sports. You actually had the knowledge to go above and beyond that.
I mean, this is a true story, guys. In college, I would print parlay cards, rectangles, and literally hand them out.
That's awesome.
Love that.
That's how much has changed in a short. College a long time ago for me now, but I just can't even believe. Imagine walking around a college campus right now, handing out they weren't cardboard, but they were like thick. Like I'd find a printer, I'd found a deal. Like some people were like, "We can't do that. That's illegal." I'm like, "Fucking care what I'm putting on the card. It's not your business."
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Find like the cool one that's willing to print it. But that's how stagnant lines were, dudes. I would go there on like fucking Tuesday, pick it up the next day, and I'm still handing those lines out.
Oh my God.
I love it. I love it.
The truth, it's crazy.
Now, Gino, let me ask you. I got a question. You said something earlier that piqued my interest. You said you had a rough year ever since your second daughter was born, gambling wise. It's no secret that the public absolutely smoked this last NFL season. We've talked about it before on the pod. What do you attribute to that? We had Dan from Winnable here, and he thinks that, this is the books kind of letting the public feast a little bit, have their time.
Recession.
Yeah, and then they're just going to come back with the sharpest lines we've ever seen and smoke us in either March Madness or next NFL season. What's your take on it?
I don't disagree with Dan, but I would just put it a little differently. There were mathematically a unreal amount of games that the public overhammered and they should have lost on. They had every chance to lose on, and they just kept winning. So I just don't think someone's setting it to feed and get people hooked in. There were plenty of square side plays that got absolutely hammered by the public, just like the books wanted, and the ball just didn't bounce the right way.
What game comes to mind, Gino, when you think of like that statement right there?
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. God, NFL feels so long ago.
It's like a month
You don't want to
ago.
remember it because your Niners had a rough year, so I know.
Oh God.
Dude, the Niners probably are one of the most profitable teams for the damn books this year.
Yeah.
Maybe them and the Bengals.
Well, I was gonna say while you're thinking on that, Gina, one thing that I've been big on is like I know Maddie too. Primetime dog and the under, right? The public loves the overs and the favorites. It makes sense in primetime. And this year, the underdogs weren't even covering in primetime, nonetheless winning. So it was. I was telling Ray, like, dude, this is profitable. His first year with me, and he's like, dude, I'm not making any money off of this. And I had the Dolphins. Or not Dolphins, Bills, or was it Dolphins or Bills? Who was the game winner?
The one that you won the 10K.
Oh yeah, it was Bills and the under, and like it was fucked at halftime.
Yeah, it was like it was a touchdown away, and I was like,
yeah, they didn't score the whole
fucking lost
second
this
half,
game.
Gino, and parlayed the dog and the under, and the Bills beat the Dolphins. We were at the game, or not? We went to the tailgate, and then so. But yeah, what game?
Dolphins. There were a couple Dolphins games that they were the right side. One game that stands out to me is the Colts, the Bills at the Colts. That was one that.
Oh yeah, I was on that.
The Colts could have won and covered that in every which way.
There was a Sunday night game, the Colts Vikings. I think we were watching.
That was another one.
The Colts. Joe Flacco, right? Is that
fucking Flacky ruined it. Jesus.
Vikings should not have won that game.
No. It was all the primetime, Gino. It felt like we're just favorites and overs, and it was just every time. It was historical.
Yeah, and I don't quote me on this because I feel so stupid saying it after the fact. I don't know if the books properly adjusted for the new kickoff rule.
Okay, I like that.
I think I mentioned that before.
These motherfuckers were in field goal range after like 3 plays every time.
You're right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they properly adjusted for that, and I had it penciled in, and I just never found the positions. I just kept getting my fucking lunch eaten on unders.
Speaking of field goals, I don't know if it was just me because I was betting on a lot of field goal attempts and field goals being made. At least this year is probably one of the worst field goals made by any kicker. Like I've seen so many misses. Justin Tucker just fucking shit the bed. So many Evan McPherson, other great kickers in the NFL just had a shitty season. Do you think that these kickers were definitely taking a dive and kind of like, you know what, I understand, the people are betting on this. Let me scoot one over to the left a little bit. I've never seen so many NFL missed field goals ever in a season, ever.
The average distance went up, and with that there's some deep math tied to like every fucking yard back. That's why coaches lose their shit over a 5-yard ball start. Like that matters. They're taking longer field goals, and this goes all the way back. If you guys look up the Chicago Black Sox, right? The fixed World Series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These dudes were like fucking plumbers that happened to show up on weekends and nights to play in the MLB. So you could offer these guys, the money being bet on the game, and it was like the equivalent of their annual salary.
That's so funny. Just blue collar guys going there, kick a fucking field goal, bud, and he's smoking a cigarette.
These guys now make too much. You couldn't, and dude, you can't get the money down.
Nah.
What's that? I forget that Toronto guy, that fucking guy that was texting people when he was getting sick or not going back in. Dude, the books didn't find the text. They saw fucking a couple hundred bands come in on this nuanced fucking 8th man, 12th man, 18th man, getting 100,000 in bets that averages 2,000 a week. And I looked and, oh shit, he always gets sick when 200,000 gets put on him. You can't hide the money. It has nothing to do with the only way you can hide the money is using illegal books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These idiots told their idiot friends and family, and these even bigger idiots used their cell phone, their IP address, and went to the freaking biggest casinos in their state who log all their data.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
To do it, you really need to run around all the illegals or the offshores.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gino, going to a different topic coming up. Obviously, we got March Madness. We brought you on 2 years ago. We talked about March Madness. One thing I wanted to know from you before we dive a little bit more into March Madness, and this applies for the NFL as well, is what is your opinion? I've heard both angles of, if you like the underdog to cover, also take the money line, or are you just like, let me just take the spread? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Is it the same across sports? Yeah, just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think the story that the spread doesn't matter, and if you're going to bet the underdog, just bet a money line, is it actually lacks an understanding of the math. If you show that the underdog, only covers and doesn't win 20-something% of the time, theoretically you need to double that number of how often that matters now. That's 20% that became wins versus losses. So people downplay how valuable covering is when you turn a win into a loss. Like think about if you go 3-2 on a day or 2-3, how much different your units are.
Yeah.
So that's all I would say is there's a fine point. If you told me every plus 200 dog covers at, over 50% of the variance, well, now I'm getting 2-1. So then I care. But if it's like a plus 120 dog versus a minus 110, and the 20% turns into 40% variance, I'm now negative 10 EV on that. So
yeah,
I think there's a lot of numbers don't lie, liars use numbers. And there's things that I could you could type on Twitter that theoretically sound like a really big deal. Like, oh, the dog, when they cover, they win 60%, 70% of the time. But that 30% they don't is a big fucking deal.
Yeah, for
Huge
sure.
swing. So it really matters on what the math is on those. Like I would care much more to know a dog by spread, 1 to 2 point, how often do they win?
Yeah.
3 to 4 points, how often do they win? 4 to 5. That to me is way more important. Because again, and I'm just using extremes to make an example. What if you told me 100% of the time it was, 0% of the time, if the spread's over 10, they don't win, then I should never be looking at money line for that equation on that situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
That's all. I've seen a lot of things that get trending and I know what they're doing. They're sending amateurs into a fucking blender.
Yeah, I've seen both. And that's why I wanted to ask you with all your experience and knowledge.
Oh, I should just take dog money line. Spread's worthless. That's not a narrative I would sell. There are plenty of times, like there's guys like in our group's small. There's only 1,000 people in it, but there are legit kids trying to learn that, not in a confrontational way, but would say, Gino, why the hell would you take this +2? It's worthless. I'm going money line. And if they win the game, they're like, see, I told you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, gee, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Gino, since we're breaking into March Madness very briefly, who do you think's got it this year? I know we haven't even gotten into conference tournament play yet, but who do you like?
He's going to say his alma mater.
No, I don't think San Diego has it this year. I'm a boring bettor, guys. This sounds crazy. I don't pick winners. I just look for financial positions. I'll say the best value I see right now is University of Florida.
Wow.
Okay.
Not saying they're going to win. Not saying, I'm just telling you for gap and odds to win it, but the percentage I have for them to win it, it's probably still EV negative the way they do these future lines. I haven't placed the bet yet. So anyone listening, if you want, we'll be on the same side. I'll probably place it for fun. I haven't given it to the guys.
I'm going to throw it in there.
Yeah, I got Florida as the best value right now.
Now, would you say, Gino, is your sport college hoops? Like, what's your main sport for betting? Like, everyone has their niche. Like, I'm combat sports, but because of Simon, I dabble in other sports now. But is your main sport college hoops, you would say?
No, NFL.
NFL?
Yeah, like I think misled you guys a little bit. I'm gonna sound like an arrogant.
You sounded
prick.
great with college hoops. You were like University of Florida. We're like, we're sold. You know?
Also, sorry about losing Debo. Just while we're on the NFL topic, I know.
I actually think it's good. He didn't want to be there, and he lost. Dude, he was dropping balls. I don't think he was doing it on purpose, but the Niners window might be. We got this year. I don't say the window's shut yet because
Wow.
we might make a couple moves, and if CMC's healthy, but it's shutting. We really gotta make a move this year. So I'm gonna sound like I'm over bragging, but I actually had my best year ever last year. So 2024, this is gonna sound fake, by the way. I've never won more than 30 or 40 units in a year. Last year I won 173.
Jesus.
This year, what I meant when I'm taking a dive, we're fucking 2 full months in and I'm up 8.8 units.
Wow.
So it's like, for me, I'm not ashamed of the 8.8, but the amount of time I fucking do on this to be up 8, like it's tough.
I mean, bro, you're the most we're transparent. You're transparent. It's rare to find. Like, yeah, you have your ups, but you're also transparent with your clients when you're down as well.
Yeah. So I'm happy with 30. I'm just on a fucking 2-month skid. Like I went in so arrogant to 2020. I'm like, dude, I cracked the code. All these amateurs I now know. I think I overcorrected my systems. I'm getting fucked. I'm getting my ass kicked on some games. I'm giving out like plus 10s and they're losing by 30.
Wow.
In college basketball, in NBA. So, but to the answer to the question, I think NFL's my best because the way I really don't pick winners. I trade value. I look for line movement. I look for distribution of plays and picks. So the NFL gives me enough time to make stabs at certain days of the week, all the way up, all the way to the last minute. The other sports on the same day, I have way thinner ROI on other sports.
Gino, what are your thoughts on the books and how they they say there's this amount of money or this public or this sharp, whatever. Like when FanDuel and DraftKings and Circa and all these books release that, like how much do you buy their information being actually accurate, or are they just trying to push a narrative online?
Yeah, the thing is, so when I say like fade the public, I almost mean fade the narrative more than like the actual tickets of the public. If you could just go on CBS Sports and or Action Network and just literally write down where the 60% money is and fade all of them and make money, I would take that 5 minutes a day, do that, and not fucking waste 2 hours a day making my head hurt like I'm still in trigonometry class. So when I say fade the public, I'm with you. It's like fade the narrative, fade the trending team, fade the news, like the Survivor. I made it all the way to the last 100 people in Circus Survivor.
Congrats on that. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Congrats on making 0, right?
Break it even.
We're going to get in on that next year. We haven't been in, but we're doing it. Or this year, I mean, for this season.
So I'll give you an example. The reason I got to make it there is I make weird plays. Like I had Minnesota week 1. And they're like, what the fuck? Literally the guys.
Did they play Tampa?
No, they were in
Not
New
week
York
1.
Giants. So in hindsight, yeah, there was the fucking 12-14 win Vikings. But dude, got to remember, they lost Kirk Cousins. They got fucking
Who the hell saw Sam Darnold just picking it up and actually having a great regular season?
I'll be the first to admit, I didn't see Sam Darnold making the run he did.
Yep.
I was just fading that the Vikings are a better team than the Giants. I don't give a fuck who's taking the snaps.
Yep.
So when I had that play, I knew it was going to be a very low-picked play. Lost their quarterback on the road. Who the fuck wants that? But the line was stuck at 2. The tickets were flying in on New York, and it held. I was like, dude, I'm putting one of my 3 picks on Minnesota, period. End of story. We can fuck off. Like, I'll wear that loss. So that's why I was able to make it far as that's how I bet. I'm looking to fade the narrative. I wouldn't have cared so much about like if Action Network or someone at MGM tweets out like we have more money on Minnesota.
Yeah, that's a good way of breaking it down. I think that's something we do as well over at m.v.p. is we really do break it down with logistics and kind of seeing, we do like fading the public, but but trying to make sure that we bring out the best picks possible. And just because the media is pushing a certain agenda or, a narrative in terms of, oh, wait, but their offensive line is crazy or, or whatever that may be, we still have to look at the team itself. So,
yeah, we actually, Josh Applebaum, I read his book, Gino, and he talks about and Ray, Matt, and I, we go to the bars a lot for games, and it's like, all right, well, if you surveyed everybody at the bar and 70% are on this side, then you probably want to be on the other side of that. That's how I sometimes go out, and I'm like, all right, well, but that didn't happen in prime time.
If a casual is like, dude, this is like
A
free
lock.
money,
Yeah.
I love being on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
it's the best.
You find the real degens that are like, oh, this parlay, or once you see what they're doing, and they lose every week, and it's like, all right.
Think of what's it called?
props change
Lions,
the-
Redskins, or Commanders. Lions, Commanders.
Oh yeah,
playoff game.
yeah. We
It
were at the
was-
bar for
Say it
Lions
like it
Commanders.
is, Matt.
Yeah,
The Redskins.
the Redskins.
the Redskins.
I still say it too.
Yeah.
I think most of us do. Yeah.
I'll give you an example, and I hope this is helpful because I want to really answer the question. I do think a lot of the square money left game side and went to props. So just be careful watching just the money distribution. Watch it in addition to how it moves the line.
Yeah.
Because, dude, a lot of that square money, a lot of that 18 to 25 is now on the DFS apps.
Yep.
That is true.
And so they wrote them in, so we're missing out on that data.
Yeah.
That data that I want. I wanted to see how they fucking bet that game. I care about how they bet that game.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, a lot of them aren't betting it anymore.
Now, I want to bring it back to you now, Gino. I want to talk more about your platform, BetOpenly, what makes it different, how you got, where you are now. You said you started at least, unfortunately, during COVID year, but where are you now? Tell us a little bit about the platform, BetOpenly. Let the audience know. Give us a little insight about it.
I'll give a quick elevator pitch.
Perfect. We're Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Peer-to-peer, 1%. We have competitors now in the space. We are the only one in the space doing peer-to-peer and doing DFS. And we have a peer-to-peer casino. Like you could play blackjack against someone else.
Oh, that's awesome.
I didn't even know that. Okay, that's
That's
Came
awesome.
out on Friday, bro.
Oh,
Came out on
shit.
Friday.
So Gino, I could compete against Simon in any sports game. Like I could just
So
go.
right now, the answer is yes. You can literally text anyone, any link to any bet, and I'll give you the two sides. I said peer-to-peer 1%. That's if you use our live feed. If you make a bet and you want another stranger to take it and we're just guaranteeing you get paid,
yeah.
100%. If you ever want to text, email, or tweet or DM someone a bet, we don't even take 1%. It's free. So we make nothing off of it. So there's bet with friends, which is you alluding to betting directly with Simon, or there's peer-to-peer where you're betting it and another bettor is going to bet it, but you don't know who that is. Our market helps you find that. We essentially are charging the 1% for the real estate on the market.
That's awesome. So you could challenge anyone. So you could log in, see somebody's bet, and go, you know what? I'm going against them.
Exactly.
Or we can go
That's
play
why I think
blackjack
it's all
again,
else
or
created the opposite of.
so we can start playing poker against each other. Hold them.
That'd be awesome.
Awesome or terrible. We'll see how that goes. I'll stick to
Feel like
sports.
such a piece
At
of
least
shit.
we'd be losing money to each other versus an animated casino dealer. Or something
Yeah,
like that.
but I feel like that's growing though, Gino. Am I right though? I feel like it's more
Yeah.
evident or actually better for the consumer and
Dude, I'm
people
not-
that sign up.
I'm not joking when I say this. The best part about us is when you lose, someone else wins.
Mm.
The casinos are mastermind. I'm just not one of those people that thinks they pay off people or they fix lines or games, but if someone believes that, that's fine. They're masterminds at getting money on the wrong side. The best part about us is every bet fills. When you lose, it goes to someone else. So the 99% of the money is circulating in the gambling community. So when you read 100 billion lost to the casinos in 2024, if my dream, if every bet was on us, it would be 1 billion lost to me and the 99 stayed with everyone else.
Wow.
That's
Now-
how big of a difference it is.
No, that's awesome to hear because as a person too, I don't like sometimes I get mad and go, you know what, if I fucking lose this, I don't want to give it to, the casino or classic Vegas. I'm like, you know what, at least it could be more of a challenge. And I feel like that's actually, now you have a platform where even there's a lot of people that have friendly bets that go, oh, I got the Eagles or I got the Chiefs, for a Super Bowl matter. And, let's make it official on BetOpenly.
Exactly. And so all we do, just so you guys know, we take the 5 biggest books, we add up all the lines and divide them by each other and remove the middle. So like by kickoff, I want to say, unless I'm crazy, I want to say it was Chiefs minus 107, Philly plus 107. Something
Wow.
like that.
Wow. Well, unfortunately, Simon had to go the Chiefs route, so I wish I did that bet openly. I wish I bet Simon on bet openly because I would have won.
Oh, the Chiefs, Simon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just shaved my head. It's 3 weeks. I'll show you. I'm growing it.
Not a boy. I saw that. I remember the head shave.
Yeah, man of my word with that, and I did it, and now it's taking
My
forever to grow.
3-unit bet on that game was the under, so
I live bet the under like 3 times, so just a terrible.
that would have won.
I had my futures. I didn't hedge them on the Chiefs. Everything just went wrong for me. I mean, these two were with me. I was definitely depressed. So
It was a very good summary of your NFL season.
Yeah.
you know what? That was just a terrible overall season, terrible halftime show, terrible Super Bowl. So
Yeah. Speaking of terrible, Gino, what would you say would probably be one of the worst bets that crushed you? Because I had to watch it firsthand with this guy. I know you've been betting for years and years, decades.
Oh,
what was
man.
your worst bet that you could? And it doesn't need to be money wise. It doesn't need to be how much. Like
Bad beat. It could be. Yeah.
yeah, whatever.
I got you. I flew to Vegas. So the Niners Ravens Super Bowl.
Oh.
I flew to Vegas with 10K. I don't even know how old I was. Maybe I was 30. I flew to Vegas with 10K and I probably had 11K to my name, like 11K in my checking account.
Smart.
And
Love that.
I was actually having a decent trip. Like I was single, partying, meeting people, having a ball. I think I ran it up to 15. So I had 15. I'm like, oh, no matter what, I'll be fine. So then I put 5 on the Niners before the game. We fucking sucked that first half.
Yeah. Then the lights
And I
went out.
put 10 on them at half to come back and money line. And then we got first and fucking goal. And we passed the ball 3 times, even though we have Frank Gore and Kaepernick, both mobile. We don't run one run play from the fucking 2.
Sounds like Patriots Seahawks.
And I would have, that 5, and I'll give you one more right after this. You're going to hate that one too. That 5 would have won me 5 because I took them or I don't remember. Maybe it would have won me. Were we favored in that fucking?
I don't even remember if that was.
Was it around even
I
odds?
think we were favored before that fucking game. Maybe, but we were definitely plus 2 something, plus 280 at the half. So I would have left with like 30 bands. I would have like 3x my 4x my net worth. It would have been, and my boys would have won a Super Bowl. It would have just been heaven if these fucking cocksuckers. And
Yeah.
they didn't.
No, and honestly, Vegas too probably enhanced the fact that you did that.
This is
you know,
this is the end of the story. I ordered 49 fireball shots.
as you should.
I'm now shirtless. It's first and goal. I'm taking them. I'm handing them out. I went and jumped in the Venetian water after and got fucking handcuffed and brought to my room. So
Jesus.
I went from winning 30 mid to 40 to fucking handcuffed. I think the girl I was with was nice enough to like say, hey, I'll make sure he's not a problem. Like he's like one fucking tap away from falling over and dying for 24 hours. I'll make sure he doesn't come out of the room. So I got handcuffed and brought to my room, but they were nice enough that like I wasn't causing problems. I was just being a fucking goofball.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear, man. I mean not awesome,
Second
but
worst.
no,
Got one more. You want one more?
Let's hear it,
They're
let's
both Super Bowls. I'm square in that sense, guys. I overbet the Super Bowl, even though it's not by far.
who doesn't overbet the Super
Yeah,
Bowl?
so I bet it.
It's the last game. You're like, I got to, and
Let's
I'm like,
go.
fuck, I should limit this, but I can't resist.
So there's a good system. You got to be really patient with it, but trust me, you bet whoever lost the Super Bowl, someone from their division to go to the Super Bowl. Okay, look that up. Just mark my words. So if
Well,
you remember
Dallas
Carolina
is not going, but maybe the Commanders next year.
Carolina lost. Who did I hammer preseason? Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
1,000 to win 28 bands.
Why not? Why not?
And I hedged 0. I rode it all the way to 28 to 3.
Wow.
And I saw it. I didn't bet on that Super Bowl because I had
Holy
1K
shit.
to win 28.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
crazy, Gino. I would have been beside myself.
Yeah.
And so Yeah, I walked with -1K, which wasn't that bad, but it was.
Yeah.
No, that's at least that Super Bowl in general is it's a tough one to think about. Luckily for me and Matt, we are Patriots fans, so
Yeah, no, I love thinking about it, but
what were the odds
It's
that
in your face. Like I'll never be able to forget that one. Not even because you asked, because like that'll be a fucking meme forever.
Oh yeah, no, without question. I think what was it at halftime? Patriots were a plus 1,200 to win. I think I was going back at the odds.
I mean,
and looking
probably
at that.
later in the third quarter they were even more.
Yeah, without question.
Without a doubt.
But
That's Shanny too. The worst part about that loss, you want to really fucking pour salt on my wounds.
Oh God.
That loss is the only reason Shanahan's not in Atlanta anymore, and all I've gotten is 2 Super Bowl losses since.
wow,
The Niner fan.
no, that's
It was the beginning of a dark 10 years that I didn't even know at the time.
yeah. No, it was that was a crazy Super Bowl. I think a lot of people lost a lot of money on that game. But Gino, I just want to say, thank you for being on the show. Is there anything, final words you want to, let the audience and let the people know?
Yeah, any March Madness tips?
Any March
Gino?
Madness tips? Anything on BetOpenly? Please feel free to share.
I'll give 2. Well, 1, for anyone out there that thinks buying picks is only scams, I'm just gonna end with this. My other career that allowed me to self-finance BetOpenly and buy my house and live my normal life is consulting. Consulting is you're dedicating data and time to someone else to help them make the right decision. That is all sports betting tips should be.
Mm-hmm.
You want to throw a dart, you're at a negative 10% edge. But if someone else has time to do the research, invest in the tools, and sell you all the darts, that's what sports betting should be. But my advice, anyone that says they're the greatest sports bettor, they're lying, because we don't know who the greatest sports bettor is. I mean, unless we want to assume it's Billy Walters, but anyone on social media is not the greatest sports bettor, period. They don't know, we don't know, they're hidden, they're dime a dozen. So if you want to avoid scammers, avoid people that are overly arrogant or call themselves the best at anything. We have no idea who the best is at anything. And then secondly, for March Madness, I would say a decent system is unranked versus ranked. So, pull out, don't use the fucking numbers next to the 64.
Yeah.
Use the season current rankings that end the season, ranked versus unranked dog. That'll probably end in the green if you blindly bet every unranked. And the only thing, asterisk again, I think he'll still win blindly betting it. But if one of them is over bet and the line doesn't move, I would skip it. So like if there's a popular dog and it's getting hammered and the line's sticking, it's not dropping, they're not going from plus 12 to plus 11, plus 10.
Mm-hmm.
That sadly would be a loss that you pick up and I don't, because I'll pass on that one. So hope that's helpful.
No, it's completely helpful, and we want to thank you for joining our show. And like I said, for me to have this conversation with you, tons of insight for us to take into. I know you talked to these guys before, but we appreciate you having you back, Gino. We really do.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Keep doing what you're doing. I love what you guys are doing.
Yes, sir, Gino. We'll be in touch. Thank you, brother.
thank you.
Thank you, Gino.
Later.
Have a good one, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Cheers.
What a great guy, guys.
Love the Venetian
Absolute
story.
G.
Oh my God! I
wanna
mean,
get taken
I
out.
and his
Vegas.
insights are just so accurate. He's been a book, like he's done everything in the space.
In the space, he's tapped into every.
But
every
one
space.
thing I could appreciate him though, and it's different from most cappers or people in the space, is he's actually a professional businessman too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He talks as if it's a business, and I appreciate that too, because you see a lot of these people in the space that just talk a lot of shit and think that they're something and like, oh, follow me. It's like, no, he's very open and professional in terms of what he does. So it's
Yeah,
much
great guy.
appreciated. It's almost a breath of fresh air to have in the space. So and he's been involved in it for years and years.
Yeah, no, I love to hear some more of his stories because I didn't know he got handcuffed at the Venetian. I love that.
Yeah, no, I love it. He's like, I just say, yeah, he's a professional
That'll be
businessman.
me someday,
I hope it's
probably.
you.
Yeah.
I'm sure his wife loves to hear that story.
Yeah, he did say he was single prior,
Yeah,
so
single prior.
that does not count, Gino. So, but yeah, we'll dive more into more subjects with other cappers coming on to MVP show. So we're looking forward to it. Pleasure to have Gino. Thank you. But now moving on, guys, we have tons of sports happening. Let's dive into NBA. And what are you guys feeling right now? Started off a little rocky with the Lakers, but
I mean, bro, they're cooking right now.
They're
I'm excited.
cooking.
I'm excited for
Luka's
the
getting the flick of the
NBA
wrist
again.
better, huh?
I think the Celtics are a lock to win the East.
I don't know why they just.
I'm going
lost
to the game
Pistons.
tomorrow. I'm
They
going to be
just lost
blacked
to the
out. I'm
Pistons.
literally going to be blacked out at the game tomorrow.
Good. I hope
I
you
love
have
the
a great
Celtics
time.
chance.
Who are they playing again tomorrow?
Portland, they're going to fucking murder them.
What if they lose?
I mean, they lost to the Pistons are red hot. But they lost to the Pistons.
But I
by
want to
like
talk about
20 or
the
30.
Western Conference right now because we could get like Oklahoma City playing the Timberwolves in the first round. The Timberwolves were in the West Finals, like they still have Ant. Then we could get like Golden State playing Denver, and then like Lakers, Clippers. Like we could get some really good first round matchups in the West. The East is kind of in shambles, but
Can you see the Lakers versus the Celtics in the finals?
I love that.
I could see it, no doubt.
That would be
Oh my God, the ratings for that.
That would help
be
save
the
NBA.
league. Yeah.
That would help save the NBA.
No doubt. I mean, you guys saw the Kyrie news today.
Yeah, I
Torn
did.
ACL.
Yes. Yes,
Dunzo.
sad.
Very.
Sad.
The Mavericks just getting injured like crazy, but
Yeah.
I'm happy that the Luka trade happened. The league, I think there's a lot more excitement, a lot more betting, and I think the playoffs, especially in the West, is going to be good. I think the East, I mean, we've seen the Celtics play like the Knicks. They've blown them out every time. I don't think
Knicks
that would
Knicks have not gotten a single win against the top 3 team in the league.
Yeah.
They're 0-7 against the Celtics.
I just don't think the
Cavs,
East
and
first
Thunder.
round or even through the East playoffs is going to be super competitive. But I think the West is going to be like this
cool.
is a run for. I mean, the Warriors, like if they play Denver, that's an amazing first round matchup. And Steph's like rejuvenated. So is LeBron. Like I love to see that Steph and LeBron are still the faces of the league right now, and they're still like dominating. I mean, you got like Ant Edwards and Tatum who wants to be the face, but isn't. So unfortunately,
It's because he's awkward too as a person. He's just a strange bird.
No.
But
I
he's
love Jason Tatum.
Yeah. But that after he won the championship speech,
It was
where
corny. It was corny.
It was very.
We'll be talking all NBA once April hits, but yeah, I'm excited though. I'm ready for NBA for the playoffs.
Yeah, no. Well, everyone gets crazy when it becomes the playoffs. Everyone just starts betting.
Yeah, all the Knicks fans are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, we fucking
First
gonna
off-
win." I'll do another punishment for fucking if the Knicks beat the Celtics in a series. How about
Speaking
that?
of-
that's not gonna happen.
Speaking of
guaranteed.
the Knicks, though, DiVincenzo's been fucking killing it on the Wolves, bro. I don't know why.
That's the most random statement.
I don't know. I looked
You
it
don't
up.
even watch NBA.
I watched one game. It was against the Phoenix Suns and Timberwolves a couple days ago, and DiVincenzo went off, and I was like, fucking solid. Good
man.
trade. From the
I gotta
Knicks.
get out the Jew chain now at this point.
There you go. You didn't want to break it out for Gino? What the hell?
I don't know.
All right, well, let's go to the subject that we love the most and most knowledgeable, the NFL.
Oh.
We have we had the combine, and now what are we looking? What's free agency? We have the draft coming up. What are you thinking here, Simon? There's a lot of
Do
different.
we want to get
plays.
into my Steelers topic?
All right, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, let's because he's very opinionated on Justin Fields. So
I mean, I was saying bring back Mitch Trubisky.
Bears
but
didn't do
whatever.
him right.
Whatever.
Justin Fields is a fucking backup, Matt. I don't know why.
The Bears,
And now we can say it on
Simon,
camera.
Simon, you get so heated for no fucking reason. All I'm saying, and I think anybody with a brain would agree, is that the Bears did not give Justin Fields the best chance to succeed. They gave Caleb Williams a better position to put him in.
That's not what you're saying. You're saying that he didn't have a good position in Pittsburgh either.
No, I think in Pittsburgh he didn't
just
start the year
sucks.
3-0.
Yeah, he started like 3-0 or 4 or something like that. Yeah, but his numbers still sucked. He's not a good quarterback.
I'm not saying he's a good quarterback. I'm saying our original argument was the Bears, dude. It was the Bears two
All right,
fucking years
Justin
ago.
Fields fucking lover here. Why don't you go? Why don't the
Christ.
Patriots go fucking sign him then?
I would love that. But we have a better
Yeah.
we have a better one with Joe Milton.
So yeah, no, the Steelers are trying to decide between their two quarterbacks. Is kind of with this discussion between Russ and. I mean, I would go with Russ. They're still a mess on offense, so I don't know. The Steelers are an interesting situation because they always win like 9 or 10 games, but they never win a playoff game anymore. So,
Well, one team that desperately needs a quarterback right now is the New York Giants.
oh my God,
What are you thinking here? Do you think that they're gonna
Draft somebody?
Shadur?
Well, Stafford,
What
they're
are
not
you
getting.
thinking here?
I think they should draft Shadur. What pick do they have? Like 5? I don't even remember.
3. Pats have the 4. Giants have the 3.
Okay.
Pats have the 4.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, Dayball's got to make this right. If he wants to like more leg room of staying there longer, he's gonna have to kick a young guy. If he took like Sam Darnold, then they don't win like half their games. They're gonna be, not in a great spot. So Giants, yeah, go for a swing. Go take Shadur. I think he would like New York. or New Jersey, excuse me. They play, and we gotta give it to our hometown there,
Heard about that.
our home state. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Matt, about Shedeur and the Giants?
I think in a normal year, Shedeur and Cam Ward would both be day 2 guys.
Well,
Maybe even day
compare
3.
him to last year's quarterback class.
Yeah.
Last year's was stacked, and now we have nothing this year.
So you can't see that connection between a Shedeur and a Neighbors. You can't see that.
No, I mean I can see it, and I think it. They'll play fine, but at the end of the day, the Giants have so many more holes than just their.
I mean, they're also in the same division with the Eagles and Commanders.
Exactly, and the Cowboys and the Cowboys have had the Giants numbers for 7 years now. I think it is something like Shedeur Sanders is not the missing piece to the Giants, and if he is their fix at quarterback, they are still so many pieces away from being semi-competitive in that division.
And you know what? They need another Eli Manning to come on board, and that's just not going to happen anytime soon.
If the Giants have a brain, I mean, I'm a Giants hater. They took 2 Super Bowls from me as a kid.
Yep.
Jackson Dart, Ole Miss boy. You're following Eli's footsteps there. He, in my opinion, he is probably one of the. He is. I'll say it. He is the most well-rounded QB prospect in this year's draft.
Who is his coach? Really? Kiffin?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he's coached well.
What's his projected draft spot?
I've seen him a lot of places.
It all depends. I've seen him go on day 2.
I've seen him go to Pittsburgh, honestly.
I saw Pittsburgh. I saw a mock draft that had the Jets taking him at 7. There's no truth to where people think Jackson Dart's going to go.
Well, speaking of where guys are going to go, since this is your guys' team, what are you guys' thoughts on the Patriots? Mike Vrabel, Drake May, year 2. I think they're going to have a much better year. I've been listening. Matt, what do you think for? Who would you like them to target with the draft? Should they go out and get a receiver, or stick with defense, or look like a Travis Hunter maybe?
Vrabel, yes, all in. Drake May, yes, all in. For the love of God, fix our trenches on both sides of the ball.
I remember last year telling you, being like, why is their O-line so fucking bad?
Fix the fucking trenches. Please. I mean, would I love Travis Hunter? Yeah, he's going to bring some excitement to the team and get fans riled back up again. But, my fucking God, can I not watch our O-line do nothing and then our D-line
It was a shambles O-line.
Yeah.
It's brutal. I think they were the 29th ranked
No,
O-line.
they were 32nd.
It's
I
awful.
remember looking at the O-line, D-line rankings. I'm like, damn, the Pats
That's
are
awful.
just.
And they got to fix internally too. From a organization standpoint, the report cards came out for all the franchises last week. Pats were ranked 31st out of 32 teams. You're a 6-time Super Bowl champion. You are 5 years away from having, or go 5 years back or 6 years back, you had the greatest quarterback of all time and the greatest coach of all time in your building for over 20 years.
It's just not the same.
The list goes on. How do you have the worst facilities, the worst, I think they had a C in the cafeteria. How do they have a
I don't
D
really buy
training
all those
staff?
reviews. I was listening to Colin Cowherd actually talk about that.
Colin Cowherd sucks.
Don't hate on him. Maybe he'll buy us
love
out
this
someday.
guy.
Oh, I love
him.
Colin.
Loves him.
Yeah.
Imagine sleeping on his
His
couch. and you
daughter's
wake up to
really
Colin Cowherd
attractive,
every day.
actually.
Well, date her then. Why don't you?
I'd love to.
She's
You
not
can-
Jewish.
Shit. Yeah.
Wow.
She's
All
not
right.
Jewish.
That's-
It's a no-go.
All right, big
hard.
time.
All
All right,
right.
but getting back to more ridiculous things, you think wherever Myles Garrett lands, that wins the Super Bowl immediately?
I think we talked about this a couple weeks
you
ago,
did.
and I did.
And I'm bringing you back. To
I
that.
would love-
And I'm holding you to it.
I think there was a surprise team that was looking at. I don't. All the contenders should be looking at Myles Garrett. You give the house for that fucking guy. He's gonna be motivated. He was motivated on Cleveland for all these years. That guy wants to win. He's never won anything there. I think.
So he goes on the Giants. He wins the Super Bowl.
No, I'm saying a contender. The Commanders should look at him. They want to go all in.
It's not a bad idea.
And I also heard the Eagles are fucking looking at him.
Well, if that's
Well,
the
yeah,
case,
because they're going to lose
Yeah,
Milton Williams.
And they're losing. They're not paying the linebacker. They're not going to pay him. He's going to be overpaid. But where Myles Garrett lands is going to be a big dominant. I mean, that guy is, a top 2, 3, you could say, at worst defender in the league.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
he disrupts
who? Aiden Hutchinson?
TJ,
and maybe Nick?
Hutch. Yeah. And Nick. Yeah, you could throw. I mean, he's
a top
elite.
5.
Yeah.
He's a top 5 guy.
He's a
elite.
guy that can, win you games late. So.
Well, we'll see what happens with that, Simon. I don't know about all that. But real quick, let me break it down for me real quick. All
Oh,
right? What
no.
about me?
UFC. We got a big
We
card.
have a big card, guys. We have UFC 313, Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira. I'm excited about it. Right now, the line for the main event, I know you guys are just getting into you guys have, of course, seen it, but now, because of me, you guys are getting more into it. We got almost basically an even line at this Russian Ankalaev. versus Alex Pereira. What do you guys think about that? I know I should be talking about this, but because I like hearing.
I feel like Pereira.
Pereira's basically the almost
He's a well-known
Patrick,
name.
He's now the think of Patrick Mahomes being the guy for the NFL. Alex Pereira is now the guy in the
No,
UFC.
like I've seen his name featured so many times that I'm gonna go Pereira. But I actually am a big in the undercard right before it, the Justin Gaethje. So I remember him fighting somebody big, and I think he's American, right? Gaethje.
Gaethje's American. I love Gaethje, but there was a last-minute replacement about a little over a week ago. Instead of now, it was Dan Hooker, which would be an absolute slugfest. It's now Rafael Vasiv, who I know personally, but he's they've already fought. It's going to be a rematch. Gaethje won the first fight. He picked it up. He lost the first round, picked it up in round number 2 and 3. And now Justin Gaethje's currently sitting at a plus 120 dog after already beating Fiziev in the first fight. Now, this is and this might be a dog pick, and I love Rafa, and I really do hope he wins this. He's currently a minus 160 favorite. How the hell is he a favorite, though? I don't understand that he's a minus 160. He just came off a year off of a knee injury. He had a full knee surgery. He's been out for a whole year, hasn't fought, and he's fighting a guy who's been on an absolute tear. I know with the knockout with Max Holloway, but he's been training. He had a full training camp to fight Dan Hooker. Now he's fighting Fiziev at a 2-week notice. It doesn't make any sense. That feels like free money for a lot of people in public, and people are starting to see that. So I'd say that's a good one. Jalen Turner is fighting Ignacio Bahamondes. Say that 5 times fast.
Ignacio Bahamondes.
I like that. 5 times. He just says it once. Done deal. But that's sitting even. I like that a lot. There's a lot of good fights. I think Kunyev versus Blades. It's a heavyweight fight. Kunyev got popped for steroids in another organization a couple years ago, but hasn't lost a fight in like fucking 5 years. But he's currently sitting at a plus 230 dog, which is absolutely nuts. So
it's your dog of the week.
Are you going to sprinkle?
Oh, I already poured money into it.
Or not a sprinkle.
No,
that's
there's
a
no
pour. That is a dog of the week. Tell the people the dog of the week.
Pouring it in right there. Kunyev at plus 230. I'm dumping into it. It's a heavyweight fight. I always say heavyweights, heavyweight fights and women's fights, can fluctuate. I like dogs in those fights, and you're telling me Kunyev is and I get it. Kunyev hasn't faced the level as Curtis Blades, but Curtis Blades' game is mostly wrestling, and Kunyev is a phenomenal wrestler and also bulked the fuck up now. So it's going to be tough to take him down. So we'll see how Kunyev, he likes to make it dirty. I think it is going to be a closer fight, but at plus 230, fucking hell yeah, I'm picking Kunyev. And that's going to be my dog of the week. I love Kunyev sitting at that. A couple other cappers in the space like that as well, but more money is getting poured on Curtis Blades, and I love it. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Let's
let the public pour it on Curtis Blades. Please, I'll keep getting that line as it goes up. I don't give a shit. But great card. I'm looking forward to it. I do think Pereira's going to win the fight, so we'll see what happens. I don't know how I'm going to feel betting-wise. Maybe I like the over for that, but we'll see what happens. But that's my current UFC for UFC 13. We'll maybe go watch it at Hijinks. Who knows? You actually won't be here. Never mind, me and Matt will. We'll
Make him great again.
We'll go see Twiggy. So.
Oh, no, Twiggy.
Oh, no, Twiggy.
Shout out, Twiggy. We love you.
Speaking of that, speaking of oh, no.
Oh, we're gonna do oh no and gas.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Oh no and gas.
I got a good oh no for today because Matt knows this story. I think a little bit. So oh no bet of the week.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, this is from now that we're in March. Mons is March over here. Last year, we or 2 years ago, whenever it was, when the Michigan State Kansas State game, and Tom Izzo was playing Kansas. I think it was last year with the fucking Noel and that whole game, crazy back and forth game, overtime. I had Michigan State money line, and they fucking lost. So ever since, I've had a different opinion of Tom Izzo, but. Yeah, that was an oh-no bet for me. I watched that game. Sometimes you watch games, but sometimes you watch games, and he's seen me fucking watch games, like, getting really into it, and, like, every possession and point matters. So that was that kind of game of Mons. I remember that one vividly. I know you watched that game as well.
Watched that in Applebee's on Route 46 in Pennsylvania. Just
hell of a game,
like a true man.
$3 margaritas, baby.
Oh, yeah.
It was a hell of a game, though. Hell of a game.
That's better than Hooters Happy Hour right there, man.
Fuck yeah, which we're about to go slam.
If anyone's wondering, my oh no of the week.
Yeah, did you bet the UFC card?
Yes, I did, Simon. And I won all my fucking parlays and a straight bet, which was free play. It was to win. I would have cashed out $1,500 this week. I was up like a couple $100, and my last tail was Asu Amabayev versus Manel Cape, and and I trained with Asu Amabayev, who's 125 pounds. First off, but he's a grappler.
So you're double him.
Bro, I mean, I still profited, but I would have fucking quadrupled my profit. He was the last tail on my parlay, on top of my straight bets, sitting at a plus 195 dog. So I'm like, oh, Asu just needs to get him down. His striking's not the level of Manel Cape. I've grappled him. He's 125 pounds. Motherfucker felt like a monkey on my back where I was like, this guy's fucking strong. So I'm like, as long as he gets a hold of Manel Cape, he'll be good. Didn't get a hold of him at all. Got fucking eye poked his eyes out and got fucking TKO'd in the third round. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So that's my oh no. I would have made a lot of money. I still profited.
I was gonna say profit's profit.
Profit's profit. But I would
Profit.
have had a great week. And unfortunately, Asu fucked. But
Before we get to gas station, I just wanted to call out. What is this? The Barstool fucking sweatshirt on our show today?
I was
What
waiting
the
for that.
Fuck?
Just absolutely.
Dude, it's fucking hidden. It's
You
black
can't
on
even
black.
Honestly, you can't even see it, Simon. You just
Can't
called.
even.
We
You
just gave
called
him
him
a
out.
free plug.
Called
God
him out.
damn it. And like that's gonna do something.
Anyway.
That's gonna put a dent in
Anyways.
that. Real quick, as our last segment, real
Oh,
quick,
God.
Matt, please end us
Well,
off
he's got a
with gas station pick of the week,
so
my
gas
friend.
station, we stopped. Actually, I didn't even have to stop. It was already in the fridge, loaded up. Bringing it back to the old school. This one's what got me hooked back in 6th, 7th grade. The 0-calorie Monsters Light Blue. It's crispy. It's a little aggressive. It's got like a tough taste, but it's just very nostalgic for me. But flavor-wise, I'm not gonna. There's so much better out there nowadays. AKA so many more worse chemicals for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give that like a 7-1. 7-1, 7-2, like
7-1
super standard.
before or after the heart attack.
Gator Light though, huge Gator Light guy. Stopped and got that.
Good stuff.
And then today we're on the barbell cookies and cream.
We're being
protein
healthy
bar.
today. Good stuff.
You know, one bite in, I'll finish it after the show. But fucking solid cookie dough in there kind of thing.
That actually is
Give it
a
like
very
a-
good bar.
Give it like a fucking.
That is a good bar. I don't blame him for taking a bite either.
Give him like an 8-1 on that.
Wow.
8-2.
That's impressive.
Is that really chewy compared to the metrics?
That's very true. You can see that right now.
Yeah, it sounds like he's eating sand.
So for the people, for the people out there, if you eat this, are you gonna and drink this stuff? Are they gonna look like you?
What does that
mean-
even mean, son?
I mean, he's pretty well built guy, you know.
Oh yeah, I thought
Yeah,
you meant
if you just
genetically.
don't fucking degenerately pour alcohol. I had 17 Surfsides before I hit the bars this weekend.
Yeah.
So if you don't do that, you'll look
Also,
even
yeah,
better.
shout out Surfsides because they're basically like water, incredible drink, way better than
Simon,
Heineken.
what's with these plugs?
I don't
I'm
also,
plugging everything.
we just turned
Shout
into
out Ben from Bum.
Yeah, it's a shout out podcast show. We just turned into a plug show. Hey guys, what are you gonna talk about? We're just gonna plug in a bunch of companies, so why not? But all right, guys, that is our show. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thanking our guest today, Gino from BetOpenly. If you guys haven't, check him out and BetOpenly. I know I am. So, but more importantly, check us out, MVP. Please stay tuned for next week for our next guests and topics and shows and best bets you can make possible. And you get to join me and Swice and Mons. So we appreciate you. Have a great week.